Let's talk about executive function and how it affects those of us with Asperger syndrome, high functioning autism, and autism. If you were on the spectrum, chances are you were very strong in some of these points, but you were probably weak in some of them. So it's a good thing to talk about what is executive function. Well, this is a definition that I found at webmd.com, and it says that executive function and self-regulation skills are the mental processes that enable us to plan, focus attention, remember, and juggle multiple tasks. So they list 8 of them, and I find that some researchers list 7. Others list as many as 12, and they go to a lot of trouble to associate these and show how they interact with each other. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to take these 8 skills, or the lack thereof, as mentioned by WebMD, and let's see if we have how we associate with these. Are these strong points in our lives? Are they weak points in our lives? But they are all part of the lives of people with autism. Well, number 1 is the ability to just manage time. I think that I am pretty good at this, even though I'm not sure that I have always been. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, going to school, getting up in the morning and going to school, I'm not sure that was a problem with managing time. Or I just didn't want to go to school because I didn't want to face the social pressures. It was just kind of like, well, today you get up and you be tormented for a few hours and then you come home. That was school to me. So was it because I couldn't manage time that I couldn't get up or not? Well, I think as I think through that, I had a paper out when I was 9, 10 years old. Had a couple of them, by the way. And I never had a problem being on time to deliver papers. I never had a problem, I'm talking about as a kid. I never had a problem back in those days. You would go out and actually collect money from the subscribers. You do that one or 2 days a week as you deliver papers. That was part of your job. It's what you get paid for. And I had no problem doing that. So even as a kid, I was fairly good at managing time if I wanted to. But if I didn't want to, well, that was a totally different story. Number 2, this is where I really struggled, and not only as a kid, but as an adult, and that is paying attention. So when I was a kid, you go to school and sit at a desk, or you go to church, and, church isn't made for kids. I mean, you sit in a sermon, and the preacher would just bore you to death because you had no idea what he was talking about. What's more, you didn't care a whole lot. But what I do remember about going to church is I could do this thing with my eyes where I would make things really blurry, and the colors would change, and so I would sit there and make the preacher's face turn red. I was really good at that, and I don't know what that is or how you do it. I can still do it. But paying attention in school, man, that was a challenge because my mind wanted to escape, wanted to be independent, wanted to think about something else. So yeah, I could pay attention, but you had to be very, very, very interesting for me to do that at school. I did all right, I guess. I passed all my classes, all the way through elementary school. So whatever they were saying, even though I wasn't paying attention, apparently it stuck, because they passed me grade to grade. At the end of the year, they have you take these tests to see if you learn anything. And that's what determines whether or not you're going to pass to the next grade. And I always did. So apparently I paid enough attention that I got through. Okay, here I am, an adult. And if I am going to pay attention to somebody who is talking, for example, in church, or if you go to, a lecture, whatever, what I have to do is I have to take notes. Because even if I can't read my notes after I'm done, that's not the point. I don't take notes to have a reference later. I take notes to focus my attention. I told a story several months ago about when I was a kid in math class, junior high school, and I couldn't focus on what the teacher was talking about, and so I decided I would take notes. And the teacher saw me, and I think she thought I was goofing off or whatever. Kids do that, So she called me out on it and asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm taking notes because I wanted to pay attention. I wanted to get this. I wanted to learn. And the teacher made me put down my pencil and paper, and she said, pay attention. Well, I was paying attention, but she didn't get it. So I put down my pencil, put down my paper, and I didn't pay attention. My mind just kind of wandered off. But that was a problem for me forever, just paying attention, particularly when somebody else is talking about something that I'm really not interested in. Have you ever go to the movies or watch a movie on television and you just lose interest? I do that all the time. I don't like going to the movies because basically it's a very, very, very expensive nap. What was that movie? Batman movie that was out several years ago. I think it was the Joker. Yeah, I had a nice nap through that. It was kind of interesting. I mean, when they got to the part where he's blowing stuff up, okay, I woke up and watched that. But the popcorn, the soda pop, and the cost of the ticket, I could take a nap at home. Same thing. We went to see Superman. I don't know which one of the Superman movies, and apparently my wife liked it. I think she wanted to go to it because she thought that I would like it because she's more into romance stuff. Well, that's a little bit romance. If you think flying through the air carrying your girlfriend is romantic, yeah, that would classify as romance. But I slept through that one too. Paying attention, executive function. I'm not real good at that. What about you? I think some Aspies probably really excel in that because I know some Aspies do very well in school. Number 3 is switch focus. Okay, you're focused on this and only on this, and it's really hard to go from one thing to another. I don't think I have a problem with that, do you? I'm sitting there in class thinking, again, back when I was in school, and I could focus on nothing. I could stay focused on nothing, but if I had to change, I could change very quickly if it was required of me, and I think the same is true today. Number 4 is plan and organize. Well, again, this is hard to detect when you're in school if you don't like to go to school. How would you know if you are good at planning and organizing when you don't do anything because you don't want to be there? Well, the way that I found out was as I grew to be an adult and started working in the workplace, I was very good, I think, at planning and organizing. I had the system. I worked in fast food for a while. It didn't last very long. I think the longest I held a job was 6 months. But I had this system where you had to do inventory at the end of the day, and I would do this thing where I would keep track of the soda pop cups, in the stock room. So you'd write the number. If you take out 10 and there were 50, you'd write down 40, so you didn't have to go through and count them next time. So I had that system down, but the problem with that was everyone had to use it or it didn't work. So the point is, I had this organizing ability. I would read the menu board, and I would say, man, I could put that together much better. At least that was my opinion. But the real test came when I became self-employed. Virtually impossible for me to work for someone else because, I've got Asperger's. I have autism. They just don't understand the mind blindness, that ability to socialize, which is an integral part of holding a job, just did not exist for me. But when it came to being self-employed, I was able to plan, organize, and build a successful business. Basically started with no money whatsoever and just kind of leveraged the thing, self-leveraged it until it was a full-time income. So I guess I would score kind of high on that. The problem is no one else seems to appreciate it. When you work for other people, you bring these skills with you, the skill sets with you. And you can't be a better planner than they are. It doesn't matter. You have to be subordinate, whatever. So I'll just go work for myself. Number 5 is remembering details. Aspies tend to excel in this. For example, people with Asperger syndrome tend to be very good at, say, remembering phone numbers and remembering birth dates. Those things just kind of stick in their mind. Not me. I can't, I can remember my birth date. I can remember our anniversary because, we're married on the 4th of July. But the major holidays, 4th of July I remember, and Christmas. Those are the only two that I know what dates they are. Birth dates, can't remember birth dates, period. My siblings, I can't remember their birth dates. My wife, I remember her birthday because I have to. But my kids, my grandkids, I have to keep asking my wife when is their birthday because I know it's coming up sometime in the next 12 months. So that remembering details, no, I'm not very good at that, at least in my opinion. I actually went to the local hospital I had a talk with my neurologist, and I said, I think I may have a short-term memory problem. And he said, well, they have this division of neurology at the hospital, and they have this test. You go in there and take it. So I went in and I took it. And they told me that, no, you're not that bad at remembering details. You're a little bit low, but not significantly, particularly for my age group. So whatever. But I know that I have a hard time remembering details. When I was a kid I think maybe, 10, 11, 12 years old, we had a music class, and my instrument of choice was the trombone, simply because all the other the trumpets were spoken for. So I wanted to play trumpet, but they were all gone, so I settled for trombone. So every Thursday, you'd have music class, and you take your trombone, take it home to practice with, and then you take it to school to use in music class. And every Thursday, without fail, I'd forget my trombone. It's kind of hard to have music class when you don't have an instrument to play. So I said, I keep forgetting my trombone. So I'd set it in the hallway in front of the door. So on the way out in the morning on Thursday, I would be sure to pick up my trombone. I just step over it and keep on going because I had this one-track mind. Remember they talked about earlier switching focus? Sometimes I could do that. Well, on that occasion, no, I couldn't do it. As an adult, I recall one time I was in my office, and it was time to go to the doctor's appointment. And so I left the office, got in my car, and went home. Just totally forgot I had a doctor's appointment. And the doctor was not happy with that because, if you miss a doctor's appointment, that's time. They can't go back and get, in effect, they're selling time. They make money for these little 15-minute segments. When a patient goes in, and if you don't show up, obviously that's in the past now, so they just lose money because you didn't show up. They get real unhappy when you do that. Now, if they have to cancel something, I've had them cancel me and not tell me. That's different. They don't care about your time, but that's beside the point. Number 6 is the ability to avoid saying or doing the wrong thing. When I first read this, my mind raced back to when I was a kid, and I stop and think of all the dumb things that I said and all the dumb things that I did. Now, some kids, they will intentionally say dumb things and they will intentionally do dumb things, totally cognitive, totally aware that they're doing things that are dumb because they know better. They just do it because, well, it's fun. Well, my problem was I would say dumb things and do dumb things because I didn't have any sense, because that part of my executive function wasn't functioning. And I would say some of the most absurd things. I didn't talk much when I was a kid, but when I did, I'd say some things that were really silly. And I would do things. I wish I hadn't done that, particularly 13, 14 years old. What was I thinking? I just didn't know how to socialize. I didn't know how to work well with other people. So let me know, how do you do with saying and doing the wrong things? And even today, I'm a little bit reluctant to talk to people just because I may say the wrong thing and get myself into trouble. I still do that. I don't talk much, but when I do, chances are, someone's going to get mad at me. Number 7 is do things based on your experience. I don't know why anyone would have a problem with that, but I'm guessing that some people with autism may want to get outside their scope of expertise, which I'm okay with to a point, because how else are you going to learn? Neuroplasticity, you got to do something, you got to stretch that a little bit. But how do you do things that are outside your area of experience? Number 8 is multitasking. This is one of those things that, what do you mean by multitasking? They say that it is something that is difficult for most people to do. A lot of people think they multitask, but when they are put to the test, they actually are not as good at it as they think they are. But multitasking to me means while the eggs are frying, or eggs, if you want to say it that way. In Indiana, we say eggs, like it's spelled A-I-G. But while your eggs are frying, you may be buttering the toast, or doing something else, pouring the milk, whatever you do when you fix breakfast. Multitasking is what cooks pretty much have to do when they're preparing something. Multitasking to me means while we're uploading a video, After I'm done with this one, I've got to upload it to YouTube, and then I need to make a thumbnail. So while it's uploading, I'll make the thumbnail. That's what I understand to be multitasking. And I would say that I'm pretty good at that. But other people, they have to do one thing at a time. Otherwise, I get confused. Sometimes I got to admit, I've got to do this. I got to get this one thing done before I try doing something else. I can't, just walk away from it and focus elsewhere. But usually I can do that with no problem. So once again, let's go through these, and you tell us which ones do you do well in, which ones do you do poorly in. Number 1 is manage time. Number 2 is pay attention. Number 3, switch focus. Number 4, remember those details. Remember the trombone. Number 6, avoid saying or doing the wrong thing. That's where I get my lowest score. Number 7, do things based on your experience. And number 8, multitasking. All right. There are 2 boxes on the screen, 2 rectangles. If you want to keep the conversation going, all you got to do is click one of those 2 rectangles, and we'll keep on talking, hanging out together. But if not, thanks for stopping by, and we will see y'all next time.